Welcome to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese, a program that can help you become liberated in the modern world. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kevin W. Reese.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode. And if you're looking for the protocol of the Inner Peace practice, you can find that on episode 1 through 12. Those are the discourses. But now, I'm talking to interesting people and hashing out interesting topics. Today I have my buddy Phil with me. And Phil, I want to talk to you about women.
Okay. Thanks for having me on.
I want to talk to you about relationships.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because you probably have more experience in it than I do.
Okay.
And if we're going to talk about how to find inner peace in a relationship, I figured I'd bring on someone who's sort of been around.
Oh, okay. Put me out there. I got you.
No, but I mean, you're in your early 30s?
Yeah. Yeah, I just turned 31, yeah.
Okay. So as long as I've known you, which is close to 10 years.
Yep.
You
a little bit under, but
you've had some relationships. So
sure.
I haven't had as many, so I wanted to get a perspective from a male who, had relationships in this social media era.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
social media wasn't a big thing. We were still on AOL Instant Messenger.
That's right. You didn't even have MySpace. Not even Tom talking to you.
No, we had not even Tom was like towards like 06,
Yep.
07.
Yeah.
By the time 2010, 2011 hit, Facebook was a thing. Twitter was a thing,
Yep.
and then Instagram a few years later. Social media it's a paradigm shift.
Absolutely.
For all of society, for everything. How has social media impacted your relationships?
Well, I mean, I would say the first thing is, in terms of jealousy.
Yeah.
Automatically, it creates more problems. It opens more, wormhole or, can of worms in terms of the sense that, I've had literal fights in a relationship where it's like, why is she writing that on your status? Or like, why is this girl liking that? Or like, you can't be friends with this girl because you have history or something like that. And, there's a lot of jealousy that could be formed from it.
That disrupts peace, does it not?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, it's almost like more money, more problems, more media, more social media, more being out there, more access to other people creates more problems in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because there's more A, temptation, and B, jealousy. You
just said a key word, temptation.
Absolutely.
Because you could be in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the girl you always had your eye on slips into your DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Right. 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 Or vice versa. You see, you see something that they post or, a status or whatever, and you feel the temptation to comment or to leave a message. And then if they reply or even if they don't reply, you already took that step to.
And we can flirt with emojis now.
Oh, yeah.
The wink.
Big time.
The horn.
Some of the best flirting is done with emojis. No words necessary.
This is the era we're living in.
Yeah.
So, I think social media it heightens our ego, and it also heightens our insecurities. So what you're talking about is insecurity. So if a woman sees you commenting or, oh my gosh, just your page, your social media can be lurked, is the term lurk, right? Lurking.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, lurked on. Oh yeah, that's a big thing. Everybody does. Nobody says they'll do it.
Right.
Nobody says that they do it, but always people are creeping. I mean, usually it's like creeping, Facebook creeping on somebody's page or something, going through, looking through who they talk to, what they do, trying to figure things out.
You can literally stalk somebody. Like you can go deep. You can go down someone's personal rabbit hole if they've been posting for 5, 6, 7 to 10 years. You could spend days going down.
It's funny. I mean, I work in human resources and you'll interview people, but sometimes just me, if I get their name and I go on their social media, because companies do look at it, they'll look you up. You can get a good sense, a good vibe of who somebody is just by going through their news feed or their feed or whatever, just from what they post.
And we live now in what I call the diary era, where everybody's ego is attached to social media. And so they post everything.
Yeah.
They post everything. I went to the grocery store and this happened, or my daughter, this happened to my daughter in school. And,
one of my pet peeves.
And people just, what they used to write in their diary,
Right.
they now post on the gram or Facebook.
Yeah, and it's all for attention. It's all for attention because, I mean, when you have like an Instagram,
They don't even
Facebook,
know it. It's like subliminal.
Yeah, it's almost subliminal. I mean, some people know it. They're doing it for attention because they're not getting it at home, or there's a void or a lack somewhere else, and so they seek it out. Or like they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sad" or whatever. So people be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And so they feel better. But it's almost like your own personal little channel. And so you get to broadcast whatever you want. And some people, if they don't, if they're not fulfilled in other ways, they'll go seeking it on social media, which won't give you the same, obviously, benefit.
It's like we're all a star in the real world. Remember that show on MTV?
Oh yeah, I love the real world.
It's like
I did love the real world.
We're all a star in the real world.
Oh yeah.
And we just we put out what we want to portray, and some people do the whole "woe is me." They want to complain, things like this. How turned off are you if you meet a girl and then you want to see what's up, just like an employer would? You find her on social media, you go down her little social media rabbit hole, and then you make a judgment based off of what she's been posted for the last year or so.
No, I mean, there's, there's two sides of the coin, because there's obviously the negative aspect of it, but there's also, I mean, you can kind of like filter out people, because there's been people where, oh, she's like this. I've seen people like this before, in terms of like with this attitude. Now, I'm not interested or not. But also, you may be, cutting her, short before you even really get to know her. You may be making an assumption where that's not who she is anymore, or that's not what she's about.
Right.
But no, I mean, social media is definitely something where it's a factor, because it's almost a component of the person. You have your job, your career, whatever, your family, and then also there's the social media. Who is this person on social media? I recently met a girl who's a model. And she has, a ton of followers on Instagram. And she was telling me how she was in a relationship with somebody, and that person cut her off because she had too much of a social media presence, and he didn't want to deal with it. He said, "You're too much of a personality. You're too out there. I don't think I can handle that." And it goes back to the insecurity, because he knew that she has like, 500,000 followers, whatever. And that, all the dudes, once she posts photos, going to be talking to her, sliding in the DMs, whatever it is. And he didn't want to deal with that, in the back of his mind. So, I mean, it's a real thing. It's, it can seriously, make people turn other people down.
Is that because he's insecure?
I mean,
or is he that confident? He's like, I'll go find another girl.
I mean, you could look at it either way. I mean, I think that, well, I feel like if you're gonna be with somebody attractive, period, it's gonna be if she's a model, she's attractive. Like, no matter what, guys are gonna try to, she's attractive. Guys are gonna even if they find out that she has a boyfriend, they're still gonna shoot their shot, as we say. But that goes with the territory there. But I mean, I do think that it doesn't help.
Right.
It doesn't help when you know that, okay, not only is her walking down the street, she's gonna get approached by guys, but now on her phone, in her pocket, at any moment of the day, are you gonna have perhaps competition?
Right.
So I mean, it once again, it makes everything more complicated. It's just something that complicates life in that regard.
So how do you find inner peace while you're in a relationship? Because isn't it sort of a power struggle? Someone's got to be in charge. Someone's got to it can't be 50-50, can it?
I mean, it's never really 50-50, I don't think. I mean, certain things, there's, I feel like there's always should be a good balance. I mean, it can't be completely equal, but I feel like it should be more egalitarian. Like, people talk about equality, it should be equal 50-50, but I feel like it's more egalitarian. Like, you're good at this, or you do this well, so you're in charge of this. You know what I mean? Like, when, last relationship I was in, hate doing dishes, hate folding clothes. But all the yard work, all the other stuff, I'm on it. Like, I'm that guy. I like doing that, or I'll take care of that, or even like mopping the floor, whatever. That's fine. That's cool to me. But so she didn't have a problem with that. So she washed dishes, she fold clothes, she do whatever around the house, and then I do the other stuff. So you kind of like come together, meet in the middle, and
create your own little community.
Right.
I get that, but what about decisions? That's a different thing.
Well, yeah, that's tough.
It's like, if you're in a business and it's just you and one business partner, who breaks the tie,
Sure. I mean, I mean, really, that's when you have to know your partner, I think, and it's very much it comes to like understanding, because I feel like understanding, at the end of the day, understanding is love. You know,
Right.
you have to understand the other person, even their faults, their shortcomings, and when they mess up. And I feel that once you really understand and know the other person, you can really kind of somebody's, not every single time it's going to be me or her or whatever, but she may say, hey, I want, this decision, I want this. And okay, all right.
Right.
Or, and it comes from kind of knowing the person. And that's one thing about that relationships that's very tough, is that there is no one rule, or there is no rule that encompasses all. Each relationship is unique. Each person is unique. Each combination of people and personalities is unique. So you kind of have to find what works for you in your relationship, I feel, or what you're comfortable with. And obviously there's going to be conflict no matter what, because we're human beings, we're imperfect, that's life. But you just got to know how to manage the conflict, and I feel like that's very important.
Okay. That's a good segue to my next topic. Is marriage, our relationships, natural?
How so?
Is it a natural thing? Like going to the bathroom is a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or, being hungry is a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is a relationship between man and woman, is it natural?
Is it natural?
Going as far as being with that person for years and years and years, whether you tied a knot or not.
Well, I think that
Is monogamy natural? I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I think the desire for inside of human beings for connection is natural.
Right.
Just like you got to go to the bathroom, you got to eat. We all want to feel connected.
Sure.
We all want to feel a connection with somebody, and we want to feel love, that somebody cares about us. We care about somebody, that sort of connection. Now, obviously that can happen with family, but when you're in a relationship, or when you're, exploring romantic partners, whatever it may be, I mean, it may be stronger for women, because women usually, are more drawn to the relationship and the monogamy and, attraction, where guys may want to fool around for a while. But usually guys are humans too, so they get to a point where they get tired of it or burnt out or what have you. Some don't, but, a lot do. And you want to feel some sort of connection with somebody. Now, whether that's under the, institution of marriage or a relationship, I do think there are a lot of positives that come from a relationship. I can't speak to marriages. I've never been married, but I think, there's a lot of positives that come from having that connection with another person, and also working with another person. Because once again, a relationship's not easy, and you have to build it almost like a house. Building a house isn't easy. You got to put that thing, brick by brick, whatever it may be. And, it can be a struggle. There may be setbacks or whatever. But at the end, when you finally build a house, you step back, you look at it, and you're like, wow, we did that. That's awesome.
Okay.
That's great.
But, is urinating a lot of work?
No.
Okay. Well, so is it, marriage is a lot of work.
Well, you could say eating's a lot of work, though. I mean, nowadays it's not, but back in the day when it was hunter gathering, it was a lot of work.
I suppose.
To eat or drink, you had to really, that's all you could focus on during the day, is how am I going to survive?
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but I feel like emotionally, where, you have to have some sort of, something that that gives you some emotional sustenance.
Well, you said something interesting about some men get bored.
Mm-hmm.
That seems very natural. It seems, this is just an observation,
Mm-hmm.
that women are more geared towards finding a man and being with that man for the rest of their lives, whereas men, it seems more natural to
Go around,
sow their oats in different areas.
Yeah, sure.
And there are no animals that stick around. There are no male animals that stick around. And if there
Right.
are, it's only a few species.
Right.
I think penguins is one of them.
Penguins, yeah. I think seahorses.
Seahorses.
Seahorses, the woman lays the eggs on the male's chest and he gives birth. It's crazy.
Okay.
Seahorses are great. They come from a different planet, man. They're crazy.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, I feel like it's evolutionary. I mean, dogs. I mean, dogs. I mean, the women sleep around with dogs too. They go around too, But I feel like it's evolutionary, just the way that it is, because when you think about it, a man has how many sperm, right?
Mm-hmm.
If as a man, how many women could you impregnate in one day? Just think about it. If they let you, You get like 5, 6.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? A woman, you get pregnant what? One time. That's
Yeah.
it.
That's it.
That's it. Once you get pregnant, it's done. You're stuck. 9
Yeah.
months, and then you got to have the baby, and then you got to worry about what I'm going to do with this new person, this new organism.
Sure. That's why a lot of women have kids that are 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
There's that leeway there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I feel like, because people think that evolution doesn't have an effect on your mentality, but human beings, we're animals. So, a woman, her big thing is that, if I'm going to allow somebody to enter and then I'm going to get pregnant by this person, it better be a good quality person.
Right.
It better be a good dude. That's why they're always looking for a good man, somebody, that's of high character, high quality. That's why women are usually attracted to, not necessarily looks. I mean, that's intriguing to them, but like they're attracted to high character, high status things. It's also why they like men with resources, men with money or things of that nature, because they know that they're going to be taken care of, their offspring is going to be taken care of, and they're going to have resources sustained for time. They don't even know that it's there, but it's something subconscious inside of you that's been built evolutionarily, because evolution's been going on for millions of years.
But if a man gets married and he, quote unquote, air quotes, cheats,
Mm-hmm.
Is that natural?
I think it is natural, only because I'm not trying to condone it, but I feel like, and I don't want to sound like there's a double standard, but there honestly is, because for a man, it's different, because a man is like Johnny Appleseed, just going out on the countryside,
right.
he's got a bunch of seeds. He's just trying to look for the nicest plots of land to sow his seeds. That's all he cares about.
Right.
And the funny thing to me is that with sex, many times, for a woman, she wants to get to know the guy first, see if he's a cool guy, see if he's somebody worth investing in. Then she wants to have sex or make love to him, right?
Right.
Guy's a different way. Guy, he sees you're attractive. He wants to make love to you, have sex with you. Then if you're cool and he likes talking to you, then
Right.
he'll stick around.
Right.
It's totally backwards. It's totally inverted.
Well, I once heard somebody say, if you're going to be in love, if a man is going to find a partner for a long period of time or forever,
Yeah.
he has to be able to like her when he's not horny.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the one like credential.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he's has sex on the mind, his natural instinct is to hump.
Yeah,
Basically.
men are very visual, because think about it. For a woman, the other saying that they say is that men get turned on like light switches, women like volume knobs.
Right.
And it's very true. A woman takes some time. You got to like warm the oven, as they say. It's a gradual process. It's slow. You have to, earn
Not
it.
for all, but
Not for all. No, there's exceptions. Once again, there's exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
There's exceptions to every rule. But, for the most time, it's not going to be instant. A guy, you see an attractive woman, or you see some nice, boobs, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
A nice figure of a woman. Immediately you start thinking of sex.
all right, let's go back to being in a relationship. So let's say that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And man and woman are at the mall, and the woman catches her man staring at another girl. This makes her insecure,
Mm-hmm.
more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right for her to get mad?
As a guy, I would like to say no, but I think, it's tough. It's tough, because I feel like she, as a partner, she does have a right to, obviously anybody as human beings, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm your partner. Why are you looking at another person? Disrespect. But at the same time, it's just looking. And I feel as though if you understand men a little bit more, that obviously they're very visually oriented, and sex is something that's, obviously very, very powerful to them.
So you're saying it's basically all right to look, but is it all right to flirt?
Well, that's when it gets to disrespectful territory. Once again, everybody flirts, and I don't think it's wrong. I've been in relationships where, my girlfriend flirted or with somebody else or whatever, but it's really about actions and stuff like that. And it depends on the level. If she's flirting, or you're flirting, and then you're taking to another level where you're asking questions and want to know about the person and showing interest and, taking advances, then that's not okay. But a little playful flirting, or you're at work, you have a coworker, you flirt a little bit because whatever. You see them all the time. You
just
can be
said,
harmless.
Yeah, you just said a key word: playfulness, and to me, that's part of inner peace. That's part of being childlikeness,
Mm-hmm.
that playfulness.
Yeah.
That the 8-year-old, having a crush on the 8-year-old girl across the classroom. You know what I mean? Passing a note, and things like this. And
it's natural.
It's very natural.
It's natural.
And so if you have a spouse who, or a partner, I guess is the word now, if you have a partner who absolutely frowns on that because they're so insecure, this can cause some serious disruptions of peace.
Absolutely.
Right? Because then she comes at him and he's like, well, I didn't do anything, right?
Yeah,
I didn't touch her. I didn't kiss her. I didn't do anything. I just made a joke. Said she had nice eyes, whatever, you know? And once these conflicts happen, then you both go out to a party or something to that effect, and then the guy runs into a girl that he knows, maybe at the job or something, and he's talking, and in the back of his mind he's saying, oh man, my girl is looking at us probably, and she's probably gonna chew my ear off, and my sigh into this microphone is the language I'm looking for that situation.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
Absolutely.
I had a jealous girlfriend once, so I'm pulling off of experience. What do you think? Is that exhausting?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when you have any significant other that's insecure, I
was on the radio.
Oh yeah, I mean that's even worse. But once again, that's almost back to the social media thing. You're out there, you're in the public eye. You know you're gonna have a lot of people approaching you.
Right.
So once again, that takes a partner. That takes knowledge of self as well, because you're gonna need a partner that is very like rock solid with their security. Now, there's no way to really know that until you're actually in the relationship with the person. But you can't control another person's insecurity or how they feel. You can help them with it, and I feel like you can have conversation with them, talk with them, and have clear communication. Hey, I know you feel this way about certain things. Listen, no, I'm here just with you. I know it may make you feel type of way, and I understand why you feel that way, and really show that you empathize. But at the end of the day, you can't control. You can't change another person's mind. You can't control their personality or who they are inside. And if they're insecure about those types of things, they're insecure about those types of things, and they got to work on that themselves. Now, is it annoying? Yeah, it's very exhausting, and I feel like in that situation, if it becomes too much, where you always have to be in the back of your mind, oh my God, what is she going to think about this? What is she going to think about that? That's when it needs to be, a thought of, is it worth it, really?
Right. Do you think that's a conversation that happens towards the beginning?
Yes.
Date 1, date 2, date 3, somewhere in there, where you're just like, look, I come off as
well. If she's already doing it
playful.
After date 1, date 2, date 3, then, and I mean, you also have to because there's been times myself where I was in a relationship when I was younger, like 22, 23, where I was just, more irresponsible, or just less refined, I would say, less disciplined, and that, I was in a relationship and I did like my girlfriend, or love her, or would have wanted to be with her, but you see a girl, you flirt with her, or you talk to her, or you look at her, or you look a few times, or you're at a party or whatever, and she catches you a few times, and then she has a problem with it, and you're like, what are you talking about? But then after the fact, now that I'm not in a relationship anymore, I look back and I was like, that's not really that was not really that great, that nice, because I looked at that girl 2-3 times. She called me after the first time. It should have been like, okay, dude, relax. But if you do it 2-3 times, then obviously she's gonna know you got an attraction for her,
right.
and that you would hook up with her or whatever you would if you weren't with this person. And so that's gonna bring some sort of negative feeling in the other person. So I feel like you also, while flirting is harmless and it's playful and it's natural, you also can't overdo it. And especially if you're with your significant other, in a public place, you should just, stay away from that. It can be restrictive, but, I feel like a relationship can sometimes be about sacrifice as well.
Sure.
Because, you're coming together as a whole. It's not all about me. It's not all about her. So there's some things that I need to cut back that maybe I'd like to keep looking, but she's right next to my girlfriend's right next to me. Let's tone it down a bit. Let's, have some respect. Let's think about her or her feelings, her emotions, and have some sort of, knowledge of self.
Right. There's a lot that can disrupt peace. One of the waves that's becoming more popular now is people that are polyamorous.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know what that is, that's where you basically have one primary partner, and then you have a secondary partner, and then the third partner it's like recruiting. You bring someone in and out, but the primary partner is aware of the whole thing. So it's almost like you're in a relationship, but that person is giving you permission to go have 2 other partners.
That's crazy, man. 2019 crazy.
And so I met a girl a few years ago who was polyamorous.
Okay.
And she was recruiting me as her third.
Uh-oh.
And so that's how I became familiar with it.
Sure.
And, I was curious. So I was asking mad questions, I was really? For real? Like, so if we got serious, you'd introduce me to your primary? And she's like, yeah, it was a girl. So she was, she was bi. She was like, yeah, I'll introduce you to my girlfriend. And, if she likes you, then you're in. It's like, oh, I'm in the club.
Yeah, for real.
But so more and more people are doing this. It's becoming quite popular.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose it's for, almost like a family type environment. It's not quite the stereotypical, what's that religion?
Oh, Mormonism?
Yeah. It's not the stereotypical Mormonism, but it's similar, I guess. And from what I'm told, it's more peaceful because everyone's on the same
boat, same way,
same page.
But nobody gets jealous though. That would be my question. Like if you're spending time more with one person,
from what I'm told, if you get jealous, then it's not for you. Go away. That's pretty much the attitude.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
And then there's man, I forgot his name. He was on Vlad TV once though. He had he calls them wives, but they're not really wives. He signs contracts with them.
Oh. Just
like agreement forms.
Okay.
And they do business with each other, and they have, he's got his main house with his main, his primary, and then he's got like 3 other houses with 3 other women.
Okay.
And if they had kids from other marriages, that comes in, he takes care of them. And it's like this thing where, and he goes house to house. He's created like a
little community.
Pretty much.
He's got like a condo village.
I forgot his name, man. Brother something.
Okay.
Brother something. But, it just seems like if people are on the same page, then something like that could work.
Oh, yeah.
But would it be more peaceful?
I mean, it goes back to understanding and knowing yourself. If you're some people can't do that though. There's some personality types and some people that just wouldn't be able to do that. Just because of who they are, they would get jealous, or like even if they thought it would be cool, they just get jealous. But I feel like if you're a person who's open-minded and you have that understanding with the other person, like this is what the deal is. I mean, it's kind of all out there. You kind of entering into the contract or entering into the agreement. And then, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I mean, I feel like there's certainly a segment of the population that definitely works for.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Once again, I don't think it could work for everybody.
I think what it comes down to, Phil, is whether you're monogamous with one person or you have some of these other situations. I think it just comes down to honesty. You got to be honest.
Yeah.
You have to trust the other person.
A lot of people aren't honest. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Big problem I find in relationships, or just in my past experience, both with myself and with other people, is that they feel something or something happens or whatever, and they feel it and they don't verbalize it.
Right.
They kind of hold it in, and it materializes, manifests in different forms in the relationship or different types of behavior. And then one day, at the end, when it's already too late to fix it or whatever, that's when it, comes out in the open in some sort of argument or something like that.
Right.
And, it's always the best thing. And even when it's hard, because the problem is people don't want to be honest because they don't want to let people down. They don't want to deal with the conflict.
Right.
They don't want, because conflict, once again,
it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It can disturb your peace or whatever. But it's one of those things where if it disturbs it now for the greater good later on, for sustained peace over time, then that's what it needs to be. It needs to be out there. Honesty is really like the biggest thing, I think. Being like how you feel, this is how I feel, in communication, in my experience in a relationship, that's like the biggest thing. Because if you communicate openly and you know exactly what page the other person's on, you can, properly adjust or properly know what's up.
Right. Yeah, I don't think monogamy is natural.
No?
I think it's forced. Now, that doesn't mean that some relationships can't work. I talked to a couple the other day on one of these episodes, Paul and Susie, and they seem very happy. They've been married for 20 years. They said the key is being best friends.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is tough to expect a person to like just be with one person the whole time and not feel any emotion or want to bang anybody else, for lack of a better term.
Right.
But I mean, I do think you got to be best friends. You really got to have a
Yep.
deep, like dope, like relationship in terms
Yep.
of like friendship. Because if you're just with that person for convenience or just to have a person or just because you like, you know, what they bring to you or
Right,
their
but-
sexuality, it's
But
not
we,
going to work
but
out.
we have to get rid of these insecurities. Like think about friendships,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's say me and you are best friends. We've known each other for 30 years. And then, you know, tomorrow I'm going out with my buddy Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And not you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get jealous? I don't think so.
No.
But if it was a guy-girl thing, maybe.
Because it would be perceived as a threat. And I mean, to a certain extent, I kind of empathize with girls to a large extent because guys lie. Guys are manipulators and they lie because they, you know, once again, they're after different women and stuff like that. So they'll tell you what you want to hear just to get what they want. And it may sound good. And if the guy's smooth, like you'll believe it. And women's emotions are very powerful. You know, they almost can get lost in them. Because it's just, I mean, men have emotions too, but like women, you know, they really, you know, dive deep into them. You know what I mean? And it's just more of like an engrossing thing for them. And so I get it. You know, you kind of feel that any woman would be a threat because you're just like, oh, guys are like this. You know, they have this reputation and just like, you know, they naturally want to, you know, have different women. So like, obviously this girl must be some other woman that he's interested in. I get that. I totally get that. But I mean, really, you just got to be open and communicate. And I mean, you know, if you're hanging out with somebody, I mean, once again, it's tough. It's just, you know, it's a situation that, you know, is person by person, and the person really has to really know you. And I feel like you just got to build that relationship in terms of a friendship. If you're gonna go for the monogamous relationship, the person you're with, you got to know, and you got to be very, you know, you got to be friends with that person. Like
A lot of people settle too.
Oh Jesus!
Because we've been socially.
Oh Jesus!
We've been socially engineered.
Oh my goodness!
We've been socially engineered, especially women. Just the other day, I was trying to do business with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her mid-30s. Anytime you meet a woman in her mid-30s, if she's not married with no kids, she'll come right after you. And I'm talking business, man. I'm not. No advancing, no flirting, no nothing. And she's just like, "Are you single?"
Oh
and
God!
I'm like, I am single. I'm too young to get married.
I love it.
Yeah, and so when we had that conversation, and I'm just like, no. I'm like, you know, you've been socially engineered.
Mm-hmm.
You know, since you were a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
The big wedding.
Mm-hmm.
The anniversaries, the holding hands. Think about how many movies this woman has seen since she was a little girl.
Yeah.
All the romantic comedies,
Mm-hmm.
all the seeing her aunts and sisters, and our society dictates us to get married, have a wedding.
Oh yeah.
And this stirs the economy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much money is in weddings, and you know
my
how much
goodness.
more money is in divorce.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, the wedding industry is crazy.
One of the craziest documentaries I've ever seen. Scary. This is scarier than any Exorcist movie, any Jaws movie, any Halloween movie. Divorce Inc.
Divorce Inc.
Divorce Inc. It might still be on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because these courts, they don't care.
Nah, man.
They're ready to take the money.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyers, everyone's like in the back room like, ha, 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 ha.
Oh, it's an industry, man. It's capitalism. So they're going to be looking to capitalize on everything, man.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
wow.
No, it's crazy. I mean, nobody gets married thinking, you know, with the intention to get divorced. But the problem is that a lot of people get married for the wrong reason because they feel like it's something that they need to check off of a list.
Social engineering.
It's social engineering. And I've always felt, you know, because it's always bothered me because, you know, even me, I have people in my family who'll be like, oh, when you getting married? When you getting married? Because it's that very social, you know, I come from a, you know, immigrant family that's more traditional and stuff. So, you know, they're all on me. And now I'm in my early 30s. So now it's even more like, when you getting married? When you getting married? Or like you'll have people with more condescending type of approaches being like, what are you, gay? Is something wrong with you or something? You know what I mean? If you're not married by a certain time.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh, boy.
I used to get the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as you hit 30, people start asking.
Yeah.
So I hear you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a family member who has been married a very long time. She's old,
Okay.
in her 70s or whatever. And she used to be leading the way.
Yeah.
When are you getting married, Kevin? Ba, 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 ba. For 10 years, I've been saying I'm too young to get married. That's always my go-to.
Yeah.
I'm too young to get married. Even at 40, I'm too young to get married.
Yeah.
And recently, in the last few years, she pulled me over to a side at a family event and said, "Don't get married." She's like, "You're smart. Don't get married."
Yeah.
Because your freedom is taken away.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it. And again, I'm not discouraging people. Like, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
If you find something good
Go for it.
and you're 2-3 years deep and you feel that this can work, then go for it. Cool, if your heart's in it. But and the other 50% is you have to get rid of your freedom to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And when that other person gets old, you have to take care of them, or vice versa. And so if you're healthy and your spouse isn't, that's taxing. That's going to disrupt your peace. I see that firsthand in relationships. I see this, and your freedom is also taken away when you're younger. You can't. I have friends that are married right now, and if I say, "Hey, come through,"
Nope.
they gotta ask.
Yeah.
There's no, you can't just come through on a random Thursday night. Like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there in 15 minutes."
Nope.
Can't happen. It's just, it's illegal.
Right, exactly. No, or you could do it, but you're gonna have a rough time the rest of the week.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, it's not worth the headache.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're giving up freedom.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I haven't.
Oh yeah. I remember people always told. It's funny. People in my family always told me like, "Oh, don't get married in your 20s," or like people told me, it's a long time. They would always say it's a long time to be married. It's a really long time to be with somebody else. And I always thought about that like, no, yeah, it's true. It is a long time to be with somebody else. If you get married in, whatever, 24, 25, but, then you're with that person to what, 75? Like, whoa, that's 50 years. That's a long time.
I always recall George Clooney. He was one of the.
He's never been married, right?
No, he's married now.
Oh, he's married now. He got
married in his early 50s to a 35-year-old.
Like Derek Jeter.
Crushing Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter's another one.
Yeah.
Right. So you date, and then when you get in your 50s or late 40s, mid 40s, maybe you do it. Maybe you do it.
I mean, for me, it's always been like the way I've always felt is that I'm always somebody who kind of goes against the grain and just doesn't like doing things just to do them. I need like a good reason. And once again, many people look at marriage as like, it's almost like the life board game. You go to school, you go to college, then you get married, you get kids, and then boom, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just like, yeah, I'll get married like if I find somebody worth it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in a relationship. It's
not a goal.
It's not a goal. No,
right.
To me, it's always been like sort of something like kind of to the side. Like if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, like I'm still going to, talk to different people and date and stuff. And like I'm not going to be alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not a bad looking person. I know how to talk to people. Like I'm going to be fine. But like, it's just like, why just to get married, because a lot, the problem is that people care so much about what other people think. And that's such a big motivator for people is other people's judgment, people that don't even know. And people that like, people in their family that like just they see twice a year at Thanksgiving or like some reunion or Christmas or whatever it may be. And it's like that person doesn't have to wake up every morning and look at you in the mirror and like live your life. I was in a relationship for, a few years that I was probably in it like a year and a half too long. Right. And I kind of felt that like we were distancing, we weren't getting along, and it was ending. But part of me didn't want to let go because I didn't want to be alone, and I didn't want to come back home to my family and just be like, oh, I'm single again, and have them ask questions or have to go through that whole song and dance again.
This is a segue to a word that is brought up a lot in spirituality, certainly on this podcast. It's attachment. Mm-hmm. When we attach to things, we attach to material things, whether it's a car, a house, a goal, or a person.
Yeah.
And sometimes we attach to the idea. Personally, anytime in my 20s, teenage years and 20s, when I was more active on the scene, so to speak, if I found a beautiful woman and she gave me just a little bit time of day, I went hard
Yeah.
to lock that down because it was a trophy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You want to walk in the party with the hottest
with a hot
girl.
chick. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. And so that got me in trouble a whole bunch of times. And in hindsight, I know that's attachment.
Yeah.
That's attachment. When I met my spiritual mentor many years later, we had a talk about that. And he was just like, look, man, flesh putrefies, it's like, we're all going to be old and gray and shriveled up. So he was of the attitude that
it all goes away. Yeah.
Looks didn't matter to him. It was about how you get along with a person, which was admirable.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like, we're socially engineered, especially this new generation. Again, you're about 10 years younger than me. So, when I was in high school, there were no monster booties. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Now it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you have kids growing up, 15, 16, 17 years old. They're looking for these abnormally shaped women.
Yeah.
These Nicki Minaj, Kim Kardashian types.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't around when I was 16.
Yeah, the expectations are crazy warped. Yeah.
Crazy warped. And then you find a girl who doesn't have this huge figure, but she's got a pretty face, and she's got an awesome personality, and maybe a dude passes on her because of the attachment to
that idea. The
trophy girlfriend. It's pretty warped, man.
No, absolutely. I mean, social media doesn't help, and the media doesn't help.
Social media doesn't help.
Not at all. Because you want to stunt on your page and have you with the hot chick or whatever. Like you're the bomb. But I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, it's really how you feel with the other person. Yeah.
And the other thing is, we know by now that when a man has a girlfriend and she's bad, she's beautiful, and that goes up on social media. That puts other women unaware. That puts other women on alert. That he must have something that I didn't think he had. And then when you break up, it's like open season.
Oh yeah.
And this is very common.
Yeah.
Amongst and guys, some guys know this. A confident guy knows this.
Yes. No, it's funny. Women, if you're with attractive women, it's like the rich get richer.
Right,
Attractive women will want to be with you because
it's just like a car.
What's going on with that?
It's like a car. If you pull up to the party with a BMW, a newer BMW, everyone's on alert. Yeah, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right, this dude's doing something.
Right. I mean, that's the thing about people is people all fill in the dots for you. All you need to do is show it could be a rental that you got that day. Right. You show up there, they'll think that, you're a big shot, you're a big wig, and they'll do the math for you and fill in the blanks and say, he's doing something, he got a business, he's doing something like that, and they'll think higher of you or lower of you based on what you're using to represent yourself. That's why people like status symbols, Louis Vuitton brands. That's why branding is so powerful.
One of the examples of this is Dan Bilzerian. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah. That dude's wild. Yeah.
He's the new Hugh Hefner, if you will.
Yeah, he is.
And the difference between him is that he's open about it. Like if you listen to his interviews, he's just like, he's like, I always have a stable of women, and they want to be with me because they see my riches, they see other women with me. Yeah, he's addicted to sex. He admitted it, and he can't sleep with the same woman. Yeah, for too long.
Oh, it's a problem.
He has women. Like for real. Like, like not just 2 or 3 women.
Like 20.
20 at a time.
Like 20 at a time it's crazy.
But but the thing about him is he's honest about it.
True.
He's completely.
He's
honest.
Authentic. Yeah.
If a girl approaches him, like, if she doesn't even know who he is on Instagram or whatever, he'll just be like, he'll tell her. He'll be like, I mean, maybe there's a word for it or something. I don't know. He's like, I keep a stable of women. I'm a sex addict. Yeah. By the way, I'm worth $500 million.
I mean, once again, if they still want to...
He's a playboy for real.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think that's, it's good that he's authentic because, he's not trying to play nobody, which I think that's always the best thing to be, is authentic and let people know what the deal is. Like, especially if, times in my life when I haven't wanted to be serious with a woman, or I'm just dating around, because you get out of a relationship, you don't really want to invest in another one so quickly. So you kind of want to date around. You tell them, hey, not really looking for anything serious right now. Just, looking to
I believe that's
people.
called an open relationship.
Right. And I mean, usually what happens is that, a woman, will like be cool with it. I mean, someone will be cool with it because they're not looking for anything either. And you'll be like, oh, wow, this is great. And you have fun for a while, and then it, dissolves to what it is. And some other women will want something from you because they really like you. And then when it doesn't materialize, they'll eventually get annoyed and be like, all right, I'm tired of this BS and be out. But it's important, because when you get the craziness is when you're like shady and you're saying, no, I love you, or no, you're the only one. And then like they're seeing activities that doesn't reflect that. Then they start like chasing you or calling you up or going through your phone and all this type of crazy stuff, because they're not stupid. They know something's up. They feel it. Right. But I mean, for him, he's authentic. But I mean, also, it can be, because then it's almost like hedonistic, because he has all these different women and he can't sleep with the same one because he's always looking for the next thing. It's almost like a drug, because you're taking a hit of it now and it fills you up right now, but then once the feeling subsides, you got to go find more. Right. And you're always chasing after it, and it never completely sustains you.
I understand what you mean, but he don't chase.
Oh, well, he definitely doesn't chase.
He doesn't chase. They come to him.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you have to have a constant supply.
It's like a job. Yeah. It's like girls apply.
Oh yeah.
They apply.
All wearing the bikini with his logo on it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm going on a yacht party and I need 20 girls.
Yeah.
It's wild.
He's got a great beard though, man. Let me tell you. Great beard. Chicks dig the beard.
Dan Blazarian. Go look him up, listeners. Go look him up. It's interesting stuff. He's a fascinating. He would make a good case study.
Oh, for sure.
He's not attached. I mean, he's attached to sex,
right?
But he's not attached to any particular person,
right?
And so attachment can be deadly. And I hope he breaks his sex addiction eventually.
I feel like you find that with celebrities too, with like famous people, or like people of public figures, where like sometimes you'll see them, they'll be in a relationship and then they'll break up, and then it's just like on to the next thing. Whereas like regular lay people, will be like, right. More attached to things because, there's less coming in. I mean, it's easier to be attached when you have less options. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a Bill Zarian or even like a Derek Jeter or somebody like that, you have more options. So it's just like, oh, she broke up or we broke up, whatever. On to the next thing.
Right.
There's not necessarily, you can really, I guess, focus on the person's personality more, I guess, because you don't have to be attached, because a lot of people I feel like are attached to people or stay in relationships because of a feeling of scarcity, because they feel that, oh, I met this girl, now, where am I going to get the next one? Or I don't want to go back into the dating world, go back out to the bars and try to meet people, or get on like a dating app or something and try to meet people, because like, it's a hassle. It's work.
Man, I got a friend who's married who I've heard him say that before. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not in the dating game anymore. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. Yeah. Like, well, I'm not in the dating game either. But, I don't have a ball and chain. Mm-hmm. Right. And again, it's 50-50. Yeah. It's 50-50. It's hit or miss. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to this girl one time a few years ago, and we were talking about relationships. She said something that struck a chord with me. She was looking for a relationship. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, I don't want to be single too long, because that's going to put me in the pattern of selfishness and not being ready to sacrifice with a man.
Interesting.
And I was like, wow. I was like, I've been single for so long. I'm probably in that pattern. Yeah. Of now I don't even know how to be in a relationship. Yeah. When you're single for
years and years,
10 years.
Oh yeah.
You're stuck in your ways, but you love your ways.
Yeah, right.
I love my ways. I can't imagine a woman coming in and messing
revamping it.
No,
extreme lifestyle makeover.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, Osho used to teach, don't get attached to the person at all, and that when your relationship runs course, recognize that, be aware of that, shake hands, hug and say it's been real and move on.
Yeah.
And that's it. If you're not attached, you can stay friends.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a real hard thing to do, though.
But this is where the level of awareness is.
Yes.
For somebody like that. Okay? It's
I mean, you have to be egoless.
you have to be egoless.
You have to be egoless.
Your attachment is gone.
Because part of, being in a relationship, you feel like, not that you own that person. I mean, you shouldn't feel like, some guys
Possession.
especially, some guys especially do. You see that very often where they feel like they treat the woman like they own her, or like if she does anything. And it could be vice versa too with women, over the man where, he can't do anything, or like she gets upset about everything.
Yeah.
But, it's part of you, even if you're not feeling that ownership or you're not going to that extreme, part of you feels like, oh, this is my person. Like, this is like the person that's for me.
Right.
And like when that doesn't work out anymore, you almost feel like you failed. If the relationship fails, and it's hard to sometimes separate the relationship from yourself and not internalize it, because you feel like, oh, I made mistakes or whatever, or like I wasn't good enough, or those thoughts naturally creep into your mind, especially when you have a strong ego of that, oh, this person doesn't like me because I'm not good enough, or I'm not, I just wasn't the person I needed to be, or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It causes suffering.
Yes, it does. You should be able to have a relationship with someone, even if it only lasts 3 months. And you get intimate, cuddling, sex, or whatever it is. And you should be able to walk away. That's part of inner peace. Once you attain inner peace, once you get to that point, nothing will disrupt you.
Right.
So that ego attachment isn't there. And so that's what I'm trying to help people get to with this podcast and with the book and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I wanted to talk about that with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And kind of go over all the
nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as I go through different relationships, and I mean, the beauty of, dating around, I always, my dad and, my dad was always big on like, hey, because, I mean, he did a little dating around, but not really. He got, he kind of was like forced into like marrying my mom, where like my grandfather was like, hey, if you don't marry her, he's going to take her back to Portugal, and then that's it.
Well, you're Portuguese, so that's usually Catholic?
Yeah, Roman Catholic, yeah.
There you go.
So very traditional. But like they were dating, and he was basically like, I'm going back to Portugal. You don't marry her, she coming with me, and you're not going to see her again. So he was like, oh, geez, I got to do something. So he did. But he told me, he was like, you're not going to be in that situation. Go out, meet a lot of different people. There's a lot of different personalities, and really like try different things and see what you like, because you're not going to really know who you like or who's for you if you don't try different personalities, different people, and kind of get a sense of who you are. Because through each relationship, the beauty of it is that when it doesn't work out, you learn more about yourself, like shortcomings of yourself. If you hear from enough people about a certain thing, you're like, whoa, maybe I am kind of a jerk in this way, or certain things, and maybe there is something I didn't realize about myself. But through each thing, you learn about yourself, and you learn about other people and what they kind of want, or like makes them happy, or like how to be a better partner, a better lover for your a future partner. And I think it's very big to try different people, or not necessarily try different people like using them, but meet different people, and the more people you meet, the more things you try, the more educated, the more interesting you become as a person, and developed as a person. You grow, but also knowing that each relationship isn't you, and that you can separate yourself from the relationship. Like, this is something I'm involved in, but it's not me. Like, it's not
right.
Like, it's not a part of me. Like, if it doesn't work out, like I'm a failure, or I'm whatever.
Well, I always like to say, with any situation, it doesn't happen to you. It happens in front of you.
Yes. That's a great way to look at it. It's a really great way. I like that.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, where can somebody come say hi to you on the beloved social media?
Oh, on the social media, you can catch me on Instagram at Felipe the Great,
Okay.
FELIPE.
Okay.
Same thing on Twitter.
And ladies, he's saying great. So
yeah, Felipe the Great. That's my emperor name. You know what I mean? Alexander. I'm Felipe the Great. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, catch me there. Phil Felipe on Facebook. I'll be out there. I write some funny stuff sometimes. But yeah.
All right, cool. So I'd love to cover religion with you too one of these days.
Sure. Anytime, man.
Yeah. So
Appreciate you having me on.
no doubt. If you're looking for more info, go to drreese.com. That's doctor spelled out, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese. If this episode opened your heart, feel free to share on social media and tell your loved ones. Also, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, may peace be with you.